Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Cancel Vacation. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a social justice, social media mob looking to cancel her in this all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Cancel Vacation in paperback and e-readers today. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio took to Twitter to attack those who are against his recent announced vaccine mandate for private businesses. And in his tweet, he stated that is it unfortunate that so many on the far right are hostile to the idea that vaccines work. And with that statement, he created a straw man argument trying to generalize everybody as who disagrees with his mandates as being far right. Well, most people in New York are against his recent mandate, and many of those people are registered Democrats, and many of those people are not agreeing with his mandate. So this straw man argument that your Bill de Blasio is trying to construct shows how he refuses to listen to anyone outside of his echo chamber, and it's all about his ego, because that announcement that he made on that cable morning show was basically designed to be one big virtue signal, but that big virtue signal wound up blowing up in his face, and now instead of him backtracking and realizing that he's wrong, what he's trying to do is double down and trying to create a straw man argument saying that it's many on the far right who are against his jab mandates. No, it's not people on the far right in New York that are against these mandates. There are many Americans who are against these mandates because they are going completely against our United States Constitution. No man has a right to unilaterally impose a mandate on citizens according to our United States Constitution. No, a mayor is supposed to go out here and get a law passed by the city council, and that is where people have an issue with your Bill de Blasio. He has decided to go out here and blindside people with this announcement of this jab mandate as related to private businesses, and do this in the last 3 weeks of his term. Now, this again was a big virtue signal from Bill de Blasio, who is trying to get the attention of New Yorkers in an effort to get people behind his alleged gubernatorial campaign. However, most New Yorkers are not with your Bill de Blasio as related to any sort of political campaign, and they see the politics that's going on as related to this announcement, because what he wanted to do was go out here and try to make himself out to be some sort of hero, getting in front of this Omicron variant. But instead of people seeing him as a hero that is getting in front of Omicron, what they're seeing him as is a villain who is looking to get brownie points and trying to virtue signal to make himself look like some sort of viable political candidate, something most people don't see him as, because he has practically done the worst job of running New York City, and has practically run New York City straight into the ground. As a lifelong resident of New York City who has lived here for 48 years, I have not seen it this bad since I was a little boy during the Ed Koch years of New York. And that is how bad Bill de Blasio has mismanaged New York, and his announcement of a vaccine mandate for private businesses shows how incompetent he is as a leader, because a leader does not make an announcement unilaterally on a morning show. No, a leader goes and consults business owners who are already struggling and suffering due to his previous mandates, and many more are going to suffer because many businesses, such as retail and small business, they are not going to be able to have employees be able to meet the standards for his mandate and be vaccinated by that time, because if the implementation of this policy, it's going to be on December 27th, and no business is going to be able to meet that mandate within 4 days. And it's just really ridiculous to try to implement such a policy 4 days into the end of a mayor's term, because most of these city agencies are practically winding down their business, and these department heads have already started looking for work or have already secured new jobs. So many of these departments have practically been packing up their boxes and getting ready to get out of town as Eric Adams transitions to become the new mayor of New York. So people see through this passive aggressive attempt to try to saddle the new mayor with this baggage, and they also see through the covert contract your Bill de Blasio was trying to set, hoping that this mandate will stay in place and further sabotage Mayor Adams as he starts his term as mayor. So your Bill de Blasio wants to go out here and say that many on the far right are hostile to the idea that vaccines work. No, people are not hostile to the idea that vaccines work. No, they are hostile to politicians who are trying to virtue signal with mandates, and they are hostile to politicians who want to try to use mandates to try to force and coerce people into taking a shot in order for them to have the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that are guaranteed to them under the Constitution. Because these kind of policies run counter to the rule of law of our United States Constitution, which guarantees people life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and also bodily autonomy. And these types of mandates, again, they run counter to our Constitution, and that is why federal courts have struck down your mandates as related to private businesses that the Biden administration tried to implement, and this mandate needs to be struck down as well because it is just unconstitutional as well. And again, this is nothing to do with the far right, because if it had to do with the far right, then why is the Kansas governor against these mandates? And why is Gretchen Whitmer, another Democrat, coming out against these kinds of mandates? That's a critical question I would like to ask your Bill de Blasio, who wants to think that it's people on the far right that are hostile to these mandates. No, it is not people on the far right that are against these mandates. It is most American citizens who believe and follow our United States Constitution. They are against these kinds of mandates because they are un-American and they violate our Constitution. They violate rule of law. And it is not the right of a mayor to tell people how to live, because this undermines our country's principles, and it also undermines the standards as related to our Constitution. And if your mayor wants to really talk about far right and how much of a straw man argument it is, why is it that you have so many black Americans who have a low jab rate out here? Are they far right, even though 90% of them vote Democrat? And as related to Hispanics, you also have a low jab rate, and they vote Democrat in large numbers. Are they far right? Another critical question I would like to ask your Mayor Bill de Blasio, who comes up with these straw man arguments and wants to make it where he's trying to justify something that is clearly wrong, when there are now many members of his own party now starting to back away from these mandates because they realize that these mandates are un-American and they run counter to the principles that our founding fathers have. So they are against these tyrannical policies made by wannabe dictators and wannabe dictators who want to go out here and try to make themselves out to be heroes when they're actually villains, and trying to make make people into enemies when they're not enemies, when the real enemy is staring Bill de Blasio in the face in the mirror. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App, like within the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some books, you can find them on Amazon.com by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females like Instagram models and e-girls in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Get your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace in paperback and Kindle today.